Good morning, everyone. We'll start with the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. We have Jake Goff here from First Baptist to do the invocation. Thank you.
Morning, let's pray. Lord, we come to you asking for your hand over this meeting. God, that your word says that you give wisdom to all who ask earnestly. God, we pray for that wisdom now. God, wisdom that puts people over processes and gives wisdom to everyone here that's making the decisions. And we pray for your hand over our county, all the needs and all the things that are seen and unseen, that you would be in and through it. You would go with us, before us, behind us. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. I'll make a motion. We approve the minutes as written.
I'll second it.
Been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Oh, that's just me. I'll make a motion. We approve the claims in the total amount of $474,000, $398.17. That's my motion.
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. We don't have any added debates. Does anyone have any changes to the agenda?
I don't.
Vicious Dogs was originally scheduled for today. We have someone absent, so that will be moved to May 4th. So. Make a motion, we approve the agenda as written.
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. AMR?
Good morning, Dawn Brooks with AMR. I have your monthly report for April 1st through the 26th. Blue Mound has had 6 calls, 3 transports. Centerville, 5 calls, 2 transports. Lacine, 81 calls, 26 transports. Fontana, 4 calls, 1 transport. Mound City, 35 calls, 11 transports. Parker, 2 calls, 1 transport. Pleasanton, 45 calls, 14 transports. Prescott, 2 calls, 1 transport, for a total of 180 calls with 59 transports so far this April. Anything else?
I don't have anything, Dawn.
I'm good.
Thank you.
Thanks, Don.
Thank you.
Sheriff's report.
I have that. Sheriff's report for April 27th, 2026. Total prisoners of 54, 11 releases this past week. Total farmed out of 1 for a competency evaluation. Farmed in a 33, total 911 calls of 86, jail contacts 5,445, total calls for service of 883, civil service papers served of 18, VIN inspections 9, new cases open 37, cases closed 14, vehicle crashes 3, bailiff contacts 151, with 51 resulting in calls for service, 2 livestock out, and SRO calls for service of 140.
Thank you. Brian? You could just read the calls, just how you presented them to us just a little bit ago. That's all we need from you right now.
All right. Ron Schroyer, Linn County Fire. Our weekly call summary was 1 vehicle fire, 3 motor vehicle accidents. We had 2 storm watches where we had storm spotters out. And we had 2 grass fires and 1 power line down. Brings our yearly total to 242 calls.
Perfect.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you so much.
Any questions?
Nope.
Not right now. Jesse?
Morning, Jesse Walden with Public Works. I don't have a lot going this morning, so other than we're just out fixing roads and cleaning trees up. We're still taking a few roll-off dumpsters out to finish helping clean up with the storm damage. Other than that, if you have any questions for me.
I don't have any.
I don't have anything today.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Jesse.
Did you want to present? You're not. You need to present. For yours. Okay. Clerk?
I have a couple things here. First, I want to share with the citizens and you as commissioners that through K-Works, we received a plaque for 2024 Exceptional Loss Ratio Award. We received a second place plaque for a greater of $1,000 in our payroll amounts that are sent out, but we had the second largest deficit, so or loss ratio. So that was a huge thing. We also received a check for a refund of $14,657 because
Great.
so
Perfect.
kudos to our workers. Second thing I have is the lot split for the airport. I just need approval to move forward with having it paying $38 to the Register of Deeds to file, and then we will have a $200 fee to Security First to complete the deed, and then I need signatures from you, Miss Allison. There's that. If you guys will approve that, then you can sign that, and we will finish that component up to be exempt.
I'll make a motion that we approve the lot split for the airport and allow the chair to sign.
I'll second. Oh, okay. Let Jim say. Okay. It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
And the last thing I have is we need to talk about budgets. I will be the first to say that I am not comfortable nor experienced enough to complete our budget for Linn County to set with each department head as well as you as the commissioners or the townships. And so I have been reaching out to other clerks to find out who they use. The one individual specifically that they use, Carolyn Brock, is booked, is not able to get us on the schedule this year. I did reach out to our auditor as well, who has done some of that in the past. He also is booked, not able to do it. Unless you have someone that you would like to recommend, my recommendation is to hire David Lamb on a contractual basis because he did the county budget for 20 plus years. He knows it very well. And as I have looked over the extensive documents that have to be completed here within the county and then as well as being sent to the state, again, he has done those for many years. So I need a thought process, a recommendation, how you would like for me to move forward with that.
You're fine.
I'm good with David helping out.
I'm fine with that too.
Do you know how much that's going to cost the county?
I can assure you it's not going to cost $25,000. So I do know that.
But is he
it's
going
gonna
to do what you think Scott Lloyd did? I'm assuming you're talking about Scott Lloyd
Mhm.
and what he brought last year. I don't know if it was worth it. I'm not saying it is or
Right.
it isn't. But as far as some of the things we were wanting, appropriations within the budgets, within the departments, David Lamb is really there to, I'm assuming, just to kind of help you with the right paperwork, or is he
No.
going to help with individual
He is
departments?
going to help with individual departments. Correct. He is willing to do that. if you're asking for a dollar amount of whether it's going to be $10,000 or $12,000, I do not believe we'll even come close to that. I think we're going to be closer in the $5,000 to maybe $7,000 range. And a lot of that will just depend on the time frame that it takes us to get this. I know last year some deadlines were not met, and that's my goal, to make sure that we meet those deadlines and everything is done on time like it has been in the past prior.
Did we figure out why our budget wasn't online right now?
They have everything. I spoke to them on last Tuesday at a training that I went to. They were going to look into it. We don't place it online, they do, so, I mean, they have the documentation to be able to do that.
I mean, do you need a motion from us? It's your department.
Well, you guys ultimately make that decision because the money is going to come out of the courthouse, so
Do you need a motion?
I think so.
I'll make a motion that we hire David Lamb to assist on a contractual basis with our budget for 2027.
Is he still there? Can you see that?
Jim, are you still there?
Lost him. I'm sorry. That would be great.
What's his voicemail,
Okay.
so we can try again.
Okay.
We can try again later, or I'm not gonna second that, so we can move to have it on the agenda for next week if you'd like. Or you
Fine.
can wait for Jim to call back in. So,
That is.
Motion dies for lack of a second.
Mhm.
Wait, you can also make a motion to table it.
do you want to just go ahead and make a motion to table it for Monday?
It's fine.
I'll make a motion to table hiring David Lamb to help with the budget for 2027.
Oh, here's Jim.
I'm still gonna make the motion to table it for May 4th.
Are you there, Jim? Okay. So we are just gonna get you up to speed where we're at. Jason, motion to hire David Lamb. Then we lost you, I believe, on the call. Ally is now making a motion to table it until next week.
I can't hear you, Jesse. It's kind of muffled.
Okay. Can you hear me if I get a little closer? Can you hear me now?
What you say again?
I said, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can now. I can hear you.
Okay, I said Jason motioned to hire David Lamb to work with the budget. Ally did not second that. Instead, she motioned to table it until next week.
I will motion. I'll second the motion to hire David Lamb. I will.
Okay,
But I'd also got one other thing to say.
Okay.
You can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you. Jacqueline,
Okay.
is that okay to do that?
No, it's not okay to do that because it's already died to lack a second. I've motioned to table it, so we're on a total different motion. Now we can have that one die lack of a second and redo it.
Okay,
It's fine.
Motion dies due to lack of a second.
Okay, I'll make a motion to hire David Lamb to help with the budget for 2027 on a contractual basis.
Jim, did you hear that? Ally, motion
Allie's died.
to Ally's died to lack of second to not hire David Lamb. Jason just re-motioned to hire David Lamb for the 2027 budget.
Jason, I made the motion to hire David Lamb for the 2027 budget.
Correct.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, Jim seconded.
It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All oppose, aye.
Okay. And Jim, you had something else you wanted to say?
Pardon me?
You had something else you wanted to say?
Yes, I did not attend it, but the Republican Party had that KPI come down, Kansas Policy Institute. And I've been reached out to by a couple people. I believe Ally was at the meeting. And there was a lot of concerned citizens over how our budget, what we were spending money on. And I've been told that this Dave Trevert, if I'm saying his name correctly, that he would come down and have a workshop with us as a county to decide, to look at our budgets. Not that we're helping you with this. It's just that he would look at our budgets and help us walk through maybe where we could save some money. And I'm in support of that if he would, to see what that cost. And Allie probably knows more about him than I do because she was at the meeting and she listened to probably 50 or 60 concerned citizens of where we were spending our money and how we were spending it. And I'm in favor for getting a workshop and letting people talk through this deal as far as the commission and the department heads, and let's talk through and see where maybe we can be a little more conservative in what we're spending in this county. Myself, if somebody would be willing to look into, see what it would take to get him down here.
I can definitely do that.
I don't have an issue with bringing him in. There were a lot of concerns. I don't think that the meeting was recorded. I know Jackie Taylor supported that meeting and brought him in. When it came down to a slideshow on the 91%, it was clear that it had little to do with the county commission. We've actually decreased the past 4 years, $1,750. So the increases really came from schools.
I can't hear anything that's been said, Chastity.
Okay, I can talk to him. But as far as bringing him in, I think it's a great idea. But when we sat there and asked him, what can we do? He really didn't have any answers. It was just a lot of complaints and a lot of complaints from the citizens on where we were at with property taxes.
I can't hear you, Jess.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's all right.
But bringing him in, I don't have a problem.
Oh my God, I have a good signal here. For some reason, I'm not hearing you.
Okay, we'll try this again. Might have to talk right into it.
Okay.
Sorry.
So I'm okay with asking him to come in. I don't know what that's going to cost. I don't know if he's interested in doing that. If you're interested in that, I would be fine, because I do feel that David Lamb is going to do great at what you're wanting, but I don't see anything new coming. And we've wanted to, kind of freshen up what can we do different? And so that's where my position is. I think that you've stated when you were in that Eco Diva position that you didn't really go down line for line, penny for penny. Janet Cleveno's budget, and Joni's was the only one that I personally saw that was really penny for penny on where the money was being spent. And it wasn't, 5,000 here, 10,000 there for a contract. So I would like him to come in and maybe help us with that part of it. I don't know.
I think just different departments so that he can show us where we're spending money out that maybe other counties aren't, and where we can be a little bit more conservative than we are. And it's there's some departments that their costs are basically fixed, I believe, because you put stamps, payroll, and then stationery, or like you talk about the clerk, the treasurer, the register of deeds. Their budgets are, I think, more fixed from year to year, except with the pay raises we do, or the cost of stamps, or the other budgets that we have that we look into just for grant money and different things. That I think we can be a little more conservative of what we've done in the past. And I feel that, from what I was told at that meeting there was 50 or 60 people that was really concerned the direction we was headed with spending money in this county. And I'm all set to listen. I think as a commission, we owe it to the people of Linn County if they want to come to a workshop
Yeah.
to talk this through.
I'm okay with that, but that's what, if you did come to that meeting, it was still very hard for the public to understand that even though we are taking more tax dollars, we are not, as a county commission, spending any more. So complaints, well, why aren't our roads fixed? Why can't we get this? You've increased my property taxes this much. Well, when you really look at it, the county commission hasn't increased.
Right.
At all. We've decreased.
That's not what
And they don't understand it, and I don't know how to.
Well, I'll
We
go back
need to
my
have
taxes. Since I received a copy of mine from Lisa, I went back and looked at my taxes. Even though we stayed revenue neutral in the county, my county portion of my tax went up because of the appraised value of my property has risen greater than the appraised value of our utilities in the county. So what we've done, even though we stayed revenue neutral, a larger portion of the money has went to of the tax income has went to the private individuals' taxes than the utility companies. So we've basically taken more money from the
Citizens.
residents of Linn County than we were 3 years ago.
I agree, and
Even though we're not bringing in more money on the county side, but then we look at the school side, and the school where it's a flat 20 mils, the first statement, that they just continually bring in more money, and that goes back to the state. That isn't our problem. I mean, it's a problem from the county, but the state is the one that sets its flat 20 mils.
But and again, the higher we go on property taxes, I guess our valuations are increasing, but the county portion is not. And from 2021 to 2025, the schools in Linn County have increased and taken that tax money to 3.5 million, a little over that. And then on top of that, as we raise, if I'm understanding this correctly, then Kit or Evergy goes down on what they pay. As we increase, we pay more as property owners, and then the utilities go down. So we aren't getting as much revenue from
Because
Evergy.
that's what I say, the revenue, the appraised values of the personal property in Linn County has increased more than the appraised value of the utilities.
Right.
So what we've done, we're bringing in the same money, but with that, it's been distributed out to the landowners more because the utility appraisals aren't going up as fast as private landowners appraisals.
Well, and
one
again,
thing,
that's
what
not.
I would like to see from him is he can explain, or I believe he can, because I listened to the guy one other time 2 years ago in Pleasanton or so. He can explain to the people of Linn County how this is set up with the state on the taxation from the state for the schools and everything that's involved in this. And I don't think everybody understands quite where the money all goes, you know, as far as for the schools, the libraries, the county portion. And I think we can explain it better than we've ever explained it since I've been.
Well, we can explain it and we can explain it until we're blue in the face. But at the end of the day, when Dave was there explaining to the citizens, when everyone's upset, he doesn't have a solution. The solution is it's not at the county level, it's at the state level. It's legislature, it's all of these things. And that's the problem.
We can't control what we're involved in. The three commissioners can't control that. And we're gonna have to sit down and make our decision whether we want to cut services in Linn County. Some of the services that we're doing, we need to figure out as far as the commission, do we want to cut it? And that's where I'm at. I'm ready to listen.
And again, we can't control anything in the townships and we cannot control anything in the school districts or the cemeteries or the library.
You can control what our county taxes are. You're a third vote.
What do you mean though? I can control what part of that? Just the county commission's budget.
Our budget.
But we haven't
control
even
our
increased.
portion of
That's
the
my
budget
point.
is.
We haven't increased. This will be the 5th year. We probably aren't going to increase. We are not increasing as a county commission though.
Well, maybe we have to cut. If we choose to, maybe we got services out there that we can cut.
Maybe so.
I think there's areas that we can cut. And I think we need to take a hard look at it. Just like our jail right now. Our jail's not bringing in as much money as it was a year ago. I don't believe. We don't see a monthly. We do not see a monthly total of where we're at on the jail, and that's something else I'd like to see. Where we're at in the year from the monthly. How much income we brought in from the jail for the first 4 years. And I'd like to start seeing that on a monthly basis.
Maybe so. But I'll explain it, you know, in my district alone. And Jim, I can read off yours too. The county commission did not increase. We're at 0%. Cemeteries increased by 47. The library increased by 46%. The extension district increased by 41%. And your schools in my district, we increased by 90%. And the state increased by 36%. So, and we're at 0, but you want to cut more and more and more from the commission. And that, okay, that's fine. But what about all the other ones? It doesn't matter if we have a 0 budget, your citizens are still going to see an increase if we don't have $1 in the county commission.
That's what I say. The workshop, and we need to put it out there, and we need a paper that will print what this is. We need to show this to the people, and that's the paper to print where the money's going to.
Okay.
Show them. We just sat back and we just continue kicking the can down the road. Let's show the people where their money is going. Let's have a program. Let's show them exactly where the increases are. And if they choose it, if they continue that they're satisfied with it, I guess I'm good with that. But I feel that we need to show the people of Linn County.
What year ranges? Do you want me to do the 2021 through 2025?
I mean, just let's get it, and let's ask him to come down. Let's ask Dave to come down and see what it costs. I don't know. Maybe he charges to come, and he can walk us through it for the commission. Show us. He don't have the answers. We have to have the answers to what's happening. But if we show the people of Linn County, it's
I mean, I'm willing to do a spreadsheet and give it to Barb, and if she wants to print it, great. I'm fine with that. Well, that's fine. We can get him down here, but he's already been down here, and I'm fine with bringing him again and again and again. That's fine. I don't care. But the solution isn't.
All three commissioners are sitting there, and we can all ask questions. And it's a workshop on Monday. And then people can see, people can watch.
I'm fine with it. Are you fine with it?
That's where I'm at.
I would like to get him all the information that Lisa gave us and break down each commissioner's district, and just like Lisa did for us. And he looked at all of that, and it's all accurate. And we have to explain and maybe bring someone, the schools in and have them explain.
Let's invite all the superintendents. Let's invite everybody. Let's invite the mayors. Let's let everybody see. As a county, let's bring everybody together in this deal.
Just a second.
Okay. Chastity, are you good with bringing Dave and just seeing how much that costs for a workshop here?
Correct. I will do that.
Okay. When did you need? So you move forward with David Lamb. We'll see about getting Dave in to explain how that budget, or where we're at for the last 4 years, how that all panned out. And then when do you need to start working on budget with the departments?
I will start the first part, not May 4th, but the following week, getting out their budget worksheets to them for them to start looking into that.
On the budget worksheets, you feel good about what you want to send out and the information we need?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's up to you, but if you wouldn't mind letting us look at that, maybe just to kind of review it. I know we've had a lot in the past that they all come in differently. I think we wanted to have a uniform worksheet, right, Jason?
Well, they all get the same worksheet, and then it's just how they deliver it back to us. So
Somewhat uniform if possible. I know every department's different.
Allie, last year you all had said that you wanted a zero-based budget from all of the department heads. And like you mentioned, I think only a couple of them had actually done that. I think that you could decide whether you wanted to do that again, in which case you could explain that zero-based budget, which means allocating every dollar as you all had explained last year. Maybe that would get you some better numbers closer to what you're looking for.
I do feel we had a discussion on that. Are you leaning towards the zero-based budget or no?
I'm fine with it.
I mean, if Jim's trying to cut, I don't know if he's still on there, but I'm assuming he would be all in favor for that as well.
did you hear that, Jim?
I can't hear, but
They're asking about zero-based, if you would like that to be zero-based, like it was intended to be last year, moving forward and asking the department heads to be zero-based. Okay.
Okay.
Anything else from me? That's all I have.
Okay.
Okay.
Sheriff Akes.
Sheriff Akes, Linn County. So we provide a weekly income of the jail, and then at the end of the month, we provide a monthly income for the jail. The year before, we were sitting about 1.4 million. Last year, we were just under 1.3 million. And I mean, just to base this is jail is not a for-profit business, but we're bringing this money in, and I want you to know, if you don't know where we're at, then either ask, or we can provide those numbers, or you can take those numbers from every week. So that's where the basis of not knowing where we're at, we keep the total, so it just needs to be asked. That's all I'm asking.
I thought I just saw one from you. Don't you?
Yes,
email those.
correct. And you'll be getting one here in about 5 days also.
Yeah.
Where we're at with our year total and our monthly total also. So please just ask.
I will ask if I need to see it, but I have been seeing it, and so.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Do you have anything else? Okay. I'm going to open up for public comment. A citizen desiring to speak on any item not on the agenda may do so at this time. Discussion is limited to 5 minutes and the commission will not take action at this time. Items introduced under public comment may become agenda items for a later time or date. Please state your name when you go to the podium. Thank you.
So some of that stuff you've already seen from the last time I was here, there's some newer emails. Basically, I've been asking for, by the way, Tom Kemper from Parker, I've been asking for the detailed ISO report, which since we're in a retrogression period, ISO hasn't put that out. But I gotta believe that the fire chief has an idea since we've entered into a mutually agreeable program to improve this ISO. The fire chief should have some sort of email from ISO to get that information so they know how to improve their score. Okay. So I cannot ask ISO for that information. Chairman of the commission can, or the fire chief can, or I bet Randy probably already had an email from ISO because they were notified back in December of 2019 of the regression period. So, and if you look on the very last page of that packet I gave you, I've got a list of CORAs that we really don't need to do, but if we can't get this information and start working on this improvement, we're going to change class come December of 26. Okay. Anyway, so I guess that's my comment, other than, I'm a little disappointed with Jim in the fact that he got this letter, and I got a question for both of you. Did he tell you about this letter in December, Jason?
I don't remember being told.
Allie, did he?
I stated that last week to you. I honestly don't remember seeing
Okay.
it, but I'm not saying.
Well, I
he
would have
was
think, I would,
holding that from me.
okay.
I know we talked about ISO, so, and I know that Randy stated he was going to do what he could to get us back to that rating. So that makes me feel as if we knew that that was happening, but I don't remember seeing the letter.
Well, something we could do if a person wanted to, you could possibly, and I understand Randy has resigned and I think Brian's in charge now, I assume, or maybe we could look at those emails from ISO retrogression team and see where our deficiencies are. I know there's an email in there saying Randy alluded to the fact that the last ISO inspector said we didn't do our water stuff right in 2017. What didn't we do right, or what did we do in 2025 that made that water supply rate fall so horribly? Okay. There are some other comments in there. I probably need to get on the agenda for next week because I'm going to run out of time. There's more things in here. One thing that we could work on, or you guys could work on, is see if we couldn't get some emails telling us where we failed on this ISO report. I mean, I got to believe ISO gave him a list of what we probably went down on training. We went down on personnel. We went down on water supply. Why? If you look at those 2017 reports, it'll show you water flow rates all over the county. I looked at the summary sheet from 2025 and the summary sheet from 2020 or 2017. They're almost identical. If you read that full report, it'll give you step by step a description of where we're earning or losing points. I got to believe the 2017 full report is very similar to the 2025 report. So where did we lose our points, I guess is what I'm asking. Because we can't gain those points back unless we start doing different things. So, any questions?
I don't have
We'll
it.
put you on the agenda for next week.
Let's do that.
I won't be here, but I'll be on.
Yep, let's do that. And like I said, I could, if I got any information from ISO as to what they're doing, and Chad's been real good about getting the cores out, but I still don't have the one piece, I don't have the one piece of the puzzle that can explain it all.
Did you submit this core request yet?
Well, I didn't because this is information we're gonna wanna have at some time, okay? The biggest one in there being, let's see the email from ISO to Linn County, Randy or Jim. Somebody got it. Somebody got to have a good description of what went wrong.
Okay.
Got to be out there somewhere. Okay. Otherwise, how would Randy know how to fix it? How would Brian know how to fix it if they didn't tell him where they went wrong? Okay. Any other questions?
I don't have any questions. Thank
Thank you, Tom.
Will you get me on it?
I got you.
Yeah. And my understanding is we don't have the ISO report.
Do not have the ISO.
If you read
I read that email, but
until our retrogression period is over, they're not going to give us a detailed summary.
yeah,
Like you see for 2025, it clearly states that. Which defies a lot. It should tell people what you did wrong so that you could improve right off the get-go. Then in a year, December 2026, write another report and say, okay, here's where we got to. That makes sense to me.
Right.
But these are some reason.
anyone else for public comment? No. I'll go ahead and close public comment. Is Jacqueline still on there?
Jacqueline, are you still there?
Yes, ma'am.
Um, I guess we need to discuss with Randy's resignation. Are we wanting to move forward with putting that out, or do we want to officially appoint interim, or how do we want to go about that? For fire chief and emergency management?
I think we should be officially appointing our interims and posting the position.
Is Jim still on there?
Jim, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
I couldn't hear what was said.
Okay.
Just repeat that for me.
They're discussing to officially post the position for fire and emergency management and then appointing an interim at this point.
I'm not ready to post the job yet myself, but we can post an interim if we want to. I'm not voting to post the job yet.
Jacqueline, are you available to go into executive session for 5 minutes for non-elected personnel?
Yes, ma'am.
I'll make a motion. We go into executive session for 5 minutes for non-elected personnel. KSA 754319.
With whom?
Sorry, hold on just a second.
It is the one.
B1 with the 3 commissioners and attorney and Chastity Ware.
I'll second that motion.
It's been moved and seconded. Returning at 9:51 in the commissioner's annex room. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Linda and Brian, would you mind coming to the podium?
Set the phone over here by the podium so that you can hear them maybe a little better.
Good morning. I know you guys have had a rough week and a lot of things are changing over there. We're just kind of moving forward and we'll make a motion. It may go through, it may die, lack of a second, I'm not sure. But my position right now, I would just like to move you both as an interim position for Brian to go into fire chief interim and then you into emergency management. So I would just want to know if you would be interested in taking those positions on an interim basis first, and then we can discuss pay and all of that for interim.
I would like to have the position. I think I would be good in the position, and I think there's a lot of things that if you split the position, there would be time to do.
It would be what?
There would be time to do things. It's to be emergency management coordinator and fire chief is too much. So if you split the position, I would be really interested in emergency management. I've been in that office for almost 10 years. So
that's kind of the direction I was leaning towards, for sure interim, and then kind of split those out and maybe look, and we'll have more discussions in the future on what that looks like when we go out, if we're trying to fill that fire chief emergency management director position full time. So I would, if you are interested, Brian, are you interested in moving into fire chief interim basis? Yes?
For interim.
Okay. I'll do the motions individually. I'll make a motion that we hire Brian Schroyer as interim fire chief for Linn County.
I'll second that motion.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All oppose? He's opposed. Okay. I'll make a motion that we hire Linda for emergency management interim position for Linn County.
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 I have a question.
Hold on just a second.
Oh, sorry.
All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All oppose? Jim? Ask him if he's in favor of Lynn.
Are you in favor of Linda being the interim emergency management at this time?
Yes, yes.
And can I just clarify that you were in favor of Brian Schroyer being interim fire chief at this time?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, I apologize.
Delay.
Let's, yeah.
Yep.
It was a delay in the phone. I'm sorry, Brian. It's 3-0. 3-0 for Linda.
Yeah, got it. Thank you.
Any more discussion? Okay. Motion passes. Go ahead, Linda. You
That was my
comment.
question. Was that a delayed response or was that a no? That was my question.
Oh, okay. Thanks. We'll be in touch with you guys. We'll probably bring you in again to talk about salaries. We need to go into executive and kind of figure that out, exactly what we're doing. So,
Okay.
can you guys wait around a little bit?
We have the after action thing.
Oh, yeah. So let's see. We have. Can you pull the matrix up?
I can
Look at that.
do that.
We can take a 5-minute recess. I'll motion we take a 5-minute recess while we pull up matrix for where they're at and where Randy was.
Ally is motioning to take a 5-minute recess.
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Okay.
Is that enough time? We're back in session. Make a motion, we go into executive session for 10 minutes with the commissioners, the attorney, and the clerk. All three commissioners and the clerk, regarding non-elected personnel, 75-43-19 B1. That's my motion for 10 minutes.
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Returning 10, 3 ayes on that. Returning at 10:12. There was no action. You want to fill those out to the best of your ability, and then we'll go into 4-H building, or do we do after?
It's okay. Go ahead.
All right, so we're gonna do 4-H building, and then we'll get into after action. All right. Just back on the agenda. So if you have anything you'd like to mention, feel free. What we're doing with the 4-H building.
Allie, hand me your paper there, please.
Which one?
Your left one.
This one?
Yep.
I didn't write what.
That's okay. I don't need that part. I just need this.
We can start with an agreement that the arts and crafts funds will just go to 4-H council. Is that what we are going to decide on that one? Good with that one? Okay. We'll continue to maintain the building, and then some of the questions that had come up would be the insurance and the agreement. Do you want Chastity to prepare some sort of a legal document, or have Jacqueline help her with that on the lease when people actually rent the building for
I
liability?
think that would be good.
So, Jacqueline, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, so with the 4-H building, I think what we're gonna do on that would be to at least start with a new legal agreement contract that they would be required to sign for liability purposes when they rent the 4-H building. And then the rental price, we had talked about moving that from $75 to $100. Are you in favor of increasing or stay at 75?
I'm in favor of increasing, but just $100 is all.
That was the proposal. There actually, I think that in our email, we had a proposal for 100 if you are a Linn County resident or had to do with a school. Did you send that out, Chastity, or was that Jacqueline?
It was not me.
Okay, let me find it. Is there a number you're thinking you'd like to get up to?
I was thinking more like 150.
Allison, are you just talking about like a rental agreement? That's what you're wanting?
Yeah, currently they just rent the building with Abby, and my understanding would be that they don't sign a rental contract or agreement.
Okay, so you're not talking about an agreement with the 4-H council or with the extension. You're talking about directly with renters?
Directly with renters, but might not be a bad idea to prepare a document with the extension office that we can have a resolution that this is the process of how we get the funds, when are the funds due. If you want to do that, I don't have a problem with that.
I was just trying to clarify the instructions, so.
Yeah, I think also with we had mentioned alcohol on the premises. There hasn't been anything, yes or no, if they can have that there or not. I think that we had said maybe we were going to go with insurance too at Chastity. Because right now you can drink alcohol there, right? There's no rules against it. And
Not on the fairgrounds. We have a no alcohol policy, but we don't, the fair board has nothing to do with the 4-H building, so we don't make those rules.
right, but if they're drinking at the 4-H building, they're obviously walking around the property. So,
Yep.
Okay, direction for Jacqueline to prepare a document for lease only $150. Is that where you're at, Jason?
That's what I'm thinking. Is that okay with you?
Yes. Jim? Can you hear me?
What'd you say? I didn't hear it.
I'll let you take that.
We are discussing increasing the rental at the 4-H building from $75 to $150. And we were just in discussions about it. So if you have anything you'd like to say.
Well, when the property's not ours, it's around the building, and we rent the building out for sales or anything that's associated with it, how do we control what happens around in the parking lot? Everywhere we park, we don't know.
Correct.
So how do we do this? I personally am in favor of somehow, and I don't have the answer, but I believe that somehow we should come to an agreement with the fair board that we give them the building. They have a mill levy that they can, and I'm not saying dump it on them right now, but I think we need to work through this process and figure out how we can give them, and let's step away from it, whether if we choose to give them money to take care of it, or they can put it on their mill levy. I think that's another situation right there. I believe in our budget, we have budgeted money for the Fair Association, and then we have budgeted money to help this. I think we need to get this all back into one, so when we look at our budget, we know exactly what we're putting into the Fair Association. And like I say, I'm not against giving them money if that's what we have to do, but I believe we should figure this out instead of us having ownership of a building that we don't have any property around. Zero. We can't even park cars down there unless they give us the approval to park cars there to use our building.
We need this stuff, right?
What?
He says, until then, we need to go ahead and do this contract for liability. I'm assuming that's what you meant.
That's what I mean.
How's the liability? Also, if we do that, then how's the liability associated with people pulling on the fairgrounds to use our building?
We have our own insurance. Or the Fair Board.
Fair Board has their own insurance.
But they charge whenever anybody comes down there to use the building, I believe, or use their facilities. I mean, I know they charge. Different organizations had to pay the insurance in order to use their facilities. Is that right, Chastity?
No, they do not pay their own insurance. We have the Fair Board has their own insurance policy.
I understand that, but like when the high school rodeo used it, we had to pay the premium that was extra premium, or whether it was a rider or whatever, in order to use the fairground for high school rodeo.
That entity has to provide their own insurance policy.
That's beside their own insurance policy?
Correct.
So they just charged it to some and then not others? I mean,
That was before my position. But since I've been in that position, in the secretary position, we have not charged anybody a separate premium insurance for insurance.
yeah. Well, I do know when we was involved in high school rodeo, we had to pay that extra premium in order to use the facility. So if they don't now, I mean, I didn't know that, but that's where it was years ago.
Well, I think for me, when we brought the 4-H or the Fair Board in, when we brought the Fair Board in, we tried to explain that to them, and they were still, no, they don't want it. Too much money. I think, the way you're talking with the budget and the mill and all that, it's just another, you're going to have to bring them in and educate again on how much money we give, how much we allocate in our budget versus how much they can actually take if they increase their mill. Do they know how much they can take per state statute? I mean, that might be a budget time situation.
Well, the budget is here. So.
It's here in 2 weeks. And I doubt the Fair Board would be the first. I'm okay with asking again during the budget if
Me
you
too.
are. But until then, for
I
liability.
still think that's our best plan
I do
moving
too.
forward, is what Jim is laying out. I'm not.
But we
disagreeing.
did, yeah, but I feel like we didn't have it laid out for them to look at, hey, this is
I understand
what we
that.
give.
I think this is something we'll have to work on, but I believe it's something we need to work on. I think we need to rid ourselves of ownership of that building when we don't own any ground around it or anything. And I'm not saying dump it in their lap, but maybe we'll have to pay some money for them, you know, as far as helping them with it. But it's interesting, and it's a strange situation, I guess, where we own the building, but we don't own any of the land that sits on or anything around it.
I'm in favor of moving forward with the legal document for those who currently rent the building and the facility. And then having Chastity prepare all these documents that we've had over the past year and have a solid plan of action before we bring the Fair Board in here again and have it up on the screen so they can see everything. All the questions that they had when they were here, be able to answer that for them as well. Are you good with that, Chastity? If we add all of that, kind of table that to the budget time? Yeah, kind of revisit it then.
So let me just clarify what you're asking me to do then. What is it you want me to do?
When it comes to budget time,
Mhm.
and the Fair Board is going to be preparing their budget worksheets, we would like, before you send that to them, we would need to give them a proposal.
Yep.
Kind of explaining what we have done in the past, what we're proposing, their max state statute, mill that they could receive would far exceed what we actually budget for that building anyway. So when they say we don't have the money to take that building on, that may not be all the way true, but explain to them in a proposed idea of why we want to give the building to them. So I'm going to take all of my papers for 4-H building and push that to budget time. And in the meantime, Jacqueline, I would like for her to prepare a lease document for a contract.
I'm in agreement with that.
And the only thing that you might have to do with Jacqueline on that would be to go over our insurance policy on what we require with that. It may not be anything. It may be a lot. I'm not sure. And is that good? Yeah. Okay. All right, Jim, we're going to move forward with new business after action review from 413 discussion. Ready? Okay. Brian, Linda, James, and Amanda, if you guys want to pull up a chair and come up to the front. I don't know. Do you want it?
No. He needs to be able to hear it, not me.
Public Works has to be here too.
I'm like, there's, if they both.
Did you give him a head nod that we're ready though?
I
There he, I was, okay. Okay. Good morning. How are you guys? Regarding the after action sorry. 413, I know you guys had a discussion on Friday. I think it went well. You guys want to give us
Yes.
any updates on what was discussed? We have seen kind of an overview and notes, but that's about it.
Well, I think that we need to start with Brian as far as just like the initial incident, you know, what they saw, and then where they proceeded to go. And then, you know, I'll follow up with my part of it as far as what we did, and then Amanda, what she did. And
Good with
Jesse.
that. And then
Brian.
Brian, you want to start off with
So
the night?
on the 13th, we started out, we had 970 out to storm spot. They did a very good job catching it coming into the county. Called in the head rotation and a funnel cloud. 901 and myself, we got on the east side of it after it come through Blue Mound area, followed it across. Was having storm sirens set off and everything in front of it. Randy followed it to Sugar Valley. He turned back there. I followed it east to about the state line. We come out of the county, and we went back, and I think 910 and 920 come out. And they began a search at Sugar Valley, checking on residents with storm damage and everything. Other than that, say, think anything.
Well, so we received a call, dispatch received a call, and I'm not unaware of who it was from, whether it was Allen County or Anderson County, and that their storm spotters spotted a storm with rotation coming into our county from the corner of Allen and Anderson. 970 was already out over there at 3 and 31. Randy was out with them. I didn't hear where Brian was. And
Kelly Lane.
okay, you're what?
350 and
350 and Kelly Lane.
Coming in.
And as it was coming across, we actually had a storm chaser that was chasing it and verified that we actually had it on the ground at 300 and Ferris, 300 and Ferris, and right in that area. That was rural, so there wasn't a lot of damage over there as far as just, you know, debris. And then it came back up. When I was on my way to Mount Sitting and I was coming down Nations Hill, I could see the funnel cloud just about to hit Sugar Valley. That's when I called several deputies to come out to be out in the storm also. And that's when I got a call. I got a call about 1100 road when it touched down in Sugar Valley, right on the southwest corner, but it was already on the ground on 600 road and tore up the power lines and trees on 600 road, came back up, came back down. So the whole time this storm, it was bouncing. It was never, even though we had a direct path, the storm was never on the ground consistently. It was up and it was down. And so that's why we had different areas of impact. And when it touched down at 600 road, it came up just before 7 highway, touched back down there at Sugar Valley and caused damage to several campers. Most of them were unoccupied or recreational campers. There was one that was being occupied and not occupied at the time because the guy was hauling water. It flipped on its side. And then it came back up. It missed several roads, but when it came back down, it pulled the air off the water and damaged half a dozen docks. And there were maybe more than that, and trees. And so that's when the deputies and I started on the west side. We then had confirmation that it then touched down at Payne Road and Mine Creek, where it absolutely leveled a house with injuries. Randy and the fire went over there to attend to that area. It went back up and then hit, I don't remember what Jeannie Kerr's brother's name is, but it hit his implement shed over there at 400 and Quail. And then went back up and didn't touch down again till Tucker and caused damage over there, and then went back up and caused damage over on Waddles. And there's about 700, 800 in Waddles. There's about 800 and 850 in Tucker is where the campers in the barn.
About 1,000 in Waddles.
Okay, about 1,000 in Waddles is where it exited our, so, I mean, the communication was great. One thing that we did do is we had the deputies out, the community came out and was absolutely amazing because they cut our search and rescue time in half as they were all checking on their neighbors. So the only thing we had to do was pull up, ask them if they were good, if they talked to their neighbors, yes, they're good, and we kept on going. We made a quick search of the west side. By the time that I made it through all the roads, the damage and everything on the west side, and I came back around, that's when I noticed that the fire department had come into the west side, and I don't know where they came from or which fire department was over on the west side, but they were doing a secondary search to make sure that we had covered everybody. One of the things I will note that dispatch had called me and asked me if we have set off the sirens or need to set off the sirens. I said, yes, set them off. And we were unaware that they ran on a 5-minute cycle, shut off, let the battery charge, ran on a 5-minute cycle again. So we got a few phone calls and said, hey, the storm siren shut off. Are we good? Is it over? No, it's not over. We set them off again. So that we now know that, and we'll monitor that. The other thing that I'm going to say is the sheriff's office did sign on with the National Weather Service, so we can get real-time data funneled to dispatch, because as these guys are on the ground and they're tracking, and it bogs down dispatch when they call in and say, well, we got hail, well, we got wind, well, we got a little bit of rain, or we got some more wind. And when we can have real-time data at our hands, at our fingertips, that cuts it out of them, and we don't have to rely on them to give us a play-by-play update, and they can focus on whatever they're doing. So that's why we've implemented, hey, let's just take it in-house. We'll do the weather in-house. If Brian's seeing something that we're not seeing that out in the field, he can call it in and say, hey, this road's totally blocked, or hey, we got rotation, and we can do that. But I mean, working together is the best thing. We're on the same team. Last night proved it. We had, I'm going to say, sheer wins. We had rotation come in about 1,700 in Campbell, went across, and there's nothing that touched down, but we had trees that fell from the south side of the road across to the north, and trees that fell from the north side of the road to the south. We had trees uprooted in people's yards, and it kind of skirted the northwest corner of the county and went right past Cadmus and exited the county that way. But I mean, we had a tree that was so big, a 24-inch bar chainsaw wouldn't go through it. And, county showed up, the fire showed up, LNSO was there, and we all worked together to get the same mission accomplished. So, I mean, that's the end goal here, is to be on the same team and all work together. So I think it worked very well last night. It was torrential rains, so there was not a lot of visibility, unlike the storm that came through on the 13th, where we could physically see the storm from a distance. Last night you couldn't see it. So hats off to the road department. They showed up in force, so they did a great job. Fire department, they got right into the middle of it and got the trees taken care of. So anyways, that's really, I mean, we didn't, so after the initial storm went through, after our county, we weren't called upon that much. We had deputies that were out the next day helping the utility companies locate addresses. And also had deputies out letting the utility companies know, where the damage was and the poles that were down. They were on it quick. And we had some deputies volunteer on their time off and load out campers onto the dumpsters that Jesse left, which was fantastic. And really, that was we were limited to what we did after the fact. So.
I'm gonna go next.
Yep.
Okay. So as far as the health department is concerned, we are responsible for ESF 6 under the emergency management plan, which is mass sheltering. But in this situation, there was not a need for mass sheltering. So we kind of fell back on our public health emergency preparedness capabilities, things that we are required to do. So we went out Tuesday morning and started with a comprehensive door-to-door canvassing to identify unmet needs and ensure residents were connected to available resources. We distributed our resource list with information on local food pantries, churches, mental health services to support ongoing recovery. Coordinated with local community groups to organize and distribute donations, providing food and essential supplies to 50+ residents. Supported the Red Cross efforts by identifying additional impacted houses. Rapidly assessed the need for Tdot vaccinations and initiated coordination for emergency procurement. Deployed staff to administer these Tdot vaccinations in the field and established a fixed vaccination site the following day. Identified and addressed immediate needs for food, water, and basic supplies for residents without power. Ensured delivery of essential items to vulnerable individuals, including those requiring food to safely take medications. Supported access to appropriate clothing and hygiene supplies through community partnerships. Prioritized our outreach to our vulnerable populations, including elderly residents, individuals with chronic health conditions, children, and WIC clients. Conducted targeted follow-up with medically fragile individuals, including those that were dependent on oxygen and insulin. Ensured that residents had safe means to prepare infant feedings, including access to clean water and sanitation for bottles and pump parts, and provided direct care and stabilization to individuals experiencing acute health needs, including heat-related illness and lack of medications.
Linda, do you have anything to add?
I do. Go ahead and go first if you want.
Well, go ahead.
All right. This is from my perspective because that's what I have. The storms were monitored via my JPS as they went through the county. I listened to all the storm spotters, the calls for the storm sirens to be activated and damage reports as they came across the radio. A KDM regional coordinator contacted me to see what damage we had and if they were needed. It was determined that they would be here on Tuesday as there was nothing they could do Monday night. Tuesday and Wednesday, the command trailer was set up as the EOC at the Sugar Valley Clubhouse. We took damage reports from those who sustained damage, coordinated response with KDM, Red Cross, National Weather Service, and the Health Department. We assisted those located in the damaged areas as needed. The Sugar Valley Lakes Board Chairman and the Sugar Valley Lakes Manager checked in and offered their assistance to us. Emergency management worked with them to push information out on their lake email blast and their social media pages. Social media was used to get information out to those in the damaged areas. Social media is our most effective method to keep the public updated. And that will remain true because we don't have a radio station, we don't have television stations, we don't have a daily newspaper. So we use what we have.
As we found, the television station didn't even acknowledge that we had a cell coming in. And the television station, as I'm watching it unfold in Ottawa and Miami County, they never once mentioned Linn County about anything that we had.
See, and that's the problem. Another problem with our location is that we sit in a pocket between Springfield, Pleasant Hill, and Wichita, and Topeka, National Weather Service satellites. And because of the curve of the earth and our distance location, what was it, 800 feet something like they can't see anything below 800 feet in Linn County. So there's a lot of times that our storm spotters will see stuff and call the National Weather Service. And then they'll be like, oh, yeah, you have something. Because nobody can see us. I mean, they can see us, so I don't want people to panic that we can't be seen. But it's an issue because we are in the middle of a corner. Does that make sense?
It does make sense.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they were always able to see that tornado once the debris got high enough in it that they could pull it up on radar.
Correct.
So it's great to watch National Weather Service, but you know, we have to have eyes on it because as it comes into the county, you know, Pleasant Hill's not seeing it a lot of times.
That's right.
So representatives from the National Weather Service were driven around by Brian through the damaged areas by Linn County Rural Fire to determine the extent of the damage. They look at the damage and see, they can tell, that's how they determine the strength of the storm. We notified the sheriff's office about scam calls that citizens were receiving, prompting the sheriff's office to send out a warning on social media. There was people getting calls about roofers and all kinds of things, you know, Tuesday morning. We worked with KDM preparing damage totals for the state while continuing to get damage reports from the public. Linn County GIS was instrumental in the response as they provided detailed maps so the tornado path could be charted. These large maps were used by Emergency Management, Rural Fire, Health Department, Red Cross, and National Weather Service. On Thursday, Emergency Management delivered flyers to from KDM to Sugar Valley Lakes and to high traffic areas in Mound City. The flyer had a QR code and a phone number that the public could contact to get assistance from the state. This flyer was also posted and shared on social media. Friday, May 24th, all the departments involved in the tornado response attended an after-action meeting. As with any incident, there are things that went right and things that could be improved. A tabletop exercise is being planned to practice response, improving things for the next time. All the feedback we received from those affected and those helping with the cleanup was very positive. From the first funnel sightings, the activation of the sirens, the information updates to dispatch, grid searches, search and rescue, and the response in the next few days, Health Department, Public Works, Sheriff's Office, Rural Fire, and Emergency Management were all praised for their quick response, kindness, and professionalism.
One thing I didn't add was Senator Moran sent down a representative to assess the damage. He wanted to see the damage himself. He was in Washington, D.C., so he sent Jason Osterhaus down. He met with Randy and I. Randy and I took him to the affected areas, and he then took pictures of everything. We then sent him pictures and also video of what we had, and he sent that back to Senator Moran. So that went real well, too. That was on Wednesday.
Well, and the fact that it was Thursday before KDM got us any numbers. I mean, so in any kind of disaster, it's going to be a couple of days before we actually hear. I mean, they were here in the command trailer with us helping through that stuff. But as far as help, it's going to be a couple of days before you really start seeing things from the state. Isn't that
Correct.
True?
Yes.
So on Monday, April 13th, 9:23 p.m., I received a phone call from dispatch reporting several trees down due to the storm. I asked them to print the list out and I would stop by and pick it up. I called my South Shop foreman to help dispatch crews to help with the cleanup. I contacted my North Shop crews to see if they would come down and assist in the cleanup. I reached out to Sherry Loveland, our park manager, to make sure she was okay because she was in the path of the storm. She was okay. I then called Allie Hamilton at 9:50 to make sure the storm had missed her place and to let her know we had crews out. I then called Jim Johnson at 9:57 p.m. to inform him of the same thing. I didn't call Jason due to him being in the north and not being in the storm's path. Mark Johnston and I from the North Shop headed over to the Pleasanton Shop and was able to get in and get some chainsaws and a piece of equipment to go and start moving trees. Daniel Parsons soon joined us out on Waddles Road. I called Jim Johnson again at 10:25 p.m. to check in. At 11:23, I called dispatch to let them know that the Pleasanton area was clear of trees, and the roads were open. We then headed over here to the Mound City area to help Rodney and his crews finish cleaning up. By 1 a.m. on Tuesday, the 14th, all the crews were accounted for and headed home. At 8:12 a.m., Randy Hedgewald called to check in with us. At 8:49, KDHE had called to check in and see how bad the storm damage was. At 9:25, I called our legal counsel to let her know where things were at and what I was doing, and that I was going to contact each one of the commissioners individually to drop dumpsters off at Sugar Valley, in which all the commissioners agreed to that that was a good thing to do. By the time we got around to getting dumpsters out that day, it was about 2 p.m. By 10:45 a.m., KDHE had called me again to see how things were going. At 10:10 that morning, I met Allie Hamilton over at Sugar Valley so she could see and assess the situation over there at Sugar Valley. I then headed out to go and check on the rest of my crews. By 12:13 p.m. that day, Randy Hedgewald and I had another conversation to see where the status was of things going on in the county. And then we continued to clean up the rest of the week and met with everybody on Thursday.
The dumpsters were huge. That was a huge deal in order to kind of pick up the pieces of the chaos that was out there.
Okay. Thank you guys for everything you did.
We have identified areas that we need to work on, and we're only going to get better. So that's where we're going to work together, and that after action meeting really helped out a lot. And you know, with this, and it doesn't have to be just a storm. It could be a large grass fire like they had out in Kansas or out in western Kansas. That, you know, it could be any of those situations. So as long as we keep a clear, open communication, we'll be good.
We talked a lot about that in our after action meeting. And we had planned to, I mean, it was in, I hadn't started planning it yet, to have a tabletop exercise, and where we stand up the EOC and get everybody together and work out, you know, hypothetical problems. And the problem was we had a tornado first.
Yep.
So you
Yeah.
just never know. But there was a lot of things that were very positive, and then some things we need to work on. But you talk to anybody in any county, and there's always things to improve on and have an incident. So
I've read through all of the after action notes and looks like there's a lot we could improve on, like you said, but you guys noted it and move
Yeah.
forward.
Yep.
You guys have anything else?
No, that's all we got now.
Very good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Feel free to call us if you got any questions.
Sounds good. Good-
All right,
good
thank
week.
you.
Thanks for coming in. Yes, go
I
ahead.
have to talk.
Sure.
Clarify just something from last week.
Yeah,
Yeah.
go for it.
Okay. Sheriff Hicks, Linn County. So, Saker Tow, they had producer paperwork, turned it in. The paperwork was all sufficient, okay? And all that, the only thing that is not yet checked on, and they haven't been on the rotation yet, is because we have not approved their lot. We haven't looked at their lot. I mean, their trucks are all, you know, tow trucks, and they got the insurance, and they've provided all that. So I'm going to reach out to Saker, talk to them about their lot, and go from there. So right now, it's just their paperwork is sufficient, and we're going to go from there.
Sounds
Okay?
It's his
James.
discretion
Yes.
either way.
I do have a question because she continues to contact me. Will you notify her that everything is good, or will you notify me for me to notify her?
I'm just going to call her
Okay,
directly.
perfect.
I'm just going to call her directly and talk to her about, you know, what we expect out of the lot, what needs to be in the lot, and the gate, or the fence, and everything that's required. So I will reach out to them, and if we have anything, I'll reach out to you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, James.
Here are those, Jason. Do we have our interviews here?
Not yet.
You want to take care of these?
Yep, I'm good with that.
All right. So we have a change in pay for Brian Schroyer, moving from a 12G to a 13G, 266858. I'll make a motion that we approve that change.
Is Jim on speaker still?
Jim, are you still on speaker? Did you hear that?
Nope.
Did you hear Jason?
No,
Okay, Jay,
he's talking, but I didn't hear exactly what he said.
Jason motion to do a pay rate change for Brian Schroyer from 12G to 13G, taking him to $26.6858
I'll second.
for the interim position as the fire chief.
Okay. I'll second that.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Okay. For Linda Simmons, I'll make a motion that we, go ahead. I'll make a motion that we move her from 10K to 12K for a total rate of 2559.42.
Did you hear that?
I'll second. It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 We both came out of executive session with this paper, so it's public document now. Let's just keep it in file. Does anybody have anything else further to discuss? Jim, do you have anything while we're waiting on interviews?
No.
Okay. I don't.
I don't have anything either. Want to recess for 5 minutes?
Yep.
I'll make a motion to recess for 5 minutes, returning at 11:02.
I'll second that motion.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Jim, we're recessing.
Trying to rush.
No, that's good. I got plenty to do. Oh, I got one more thing done now. It's
We're back in session. The interviews will now be taking place next week, not today. Go ahead, Chastity.
I just needed to let you and the public know that myself and Cheyenne Kern will be gone the rest of the week. We are headed to Garden City for the Clerks and Elections Conference. So if anybody's looking for us or we don't respond promptly, that's where we'll be. So
Okay.
Okay.
All right, so we have nothing else?
I have nothing else. I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye.